Thanks for staying with us right here on Sunrise as we continue. Well, globally this month is a time to celebrate all things and people entrepreneurial. Now, from successful people who have made it to those who are just starting out and struggling to make it. To kickstart the conversation, we are joined in studio by a man who has his finger in a lot of different pies. Starting out in 1992, Sango Ntsaluba co-founded the auditing firm SizweNtsalubaGobodo, which later became one of the biggest auditing firms in South Africa. He is also co-founder of NMT Capital and represents various companies on multiple boards. With a career spanning over 30 years, Sango Ntsaluba is definitely high on the list of people to pay attention to. If you have any questions or comments, remember you can give us a call on 011-447-1742 or 447-1620. Your comments are also welcome on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Good morning to you, sir, and thanks for joining us.
Morning, Penny. Thank you very much for the invitation.
So you come from like a small village in the Eastern Cape, and you had ambitions of getting into business. What inspired you to want to be an entrepreneur?
First, I think it's a background, Penny. I was fortunate enough when I grew up that my mother used to run a small dealership shop. My grandfather used to run, I guess it was called like cottage business. In current terms, it would be a nicer term like logistics. Because he used to, for the white shopkeepers then, transport their goods from the train to their shops and so on and so on.
So how did you connect the dots between that and you wanting to have your own business?
Partly, I think that background kind of generated the interest. I think also my studies in finance as a chartered accountant also enhanced that part, and I started to see that there's another life outside employment which one can pursue.
So you're part of obviously those first generation of like business people who started those businesses. When you look back at that time, you know, the vision that you guys had, and you look at what SizweNtsalubaGobodo is today, you know, is it what you...
Chalk and cheese. Firstly, when we started that business, and which is another thing we can talk about some other time, it was just, we went to business out of mainly anger, out of not being treated properly as employees. But we never thought that the current leadership, and I'm not involved in that business for the past 10 years, would take it to the heights it is today. So we just wanted to establish something where black people can find comfort and participate in the industry.
Also, now you also very passionate about working with young people,
yes.
As we mentioned in the beginning, that it's all about entrepreneurship, and a lot of young people you know, are getting into businesses, and you've, in a way, people like yourselves have paved the way for this current generation. When you look at this generation and you interact with them, what's important to impart to the current day entrepreneur?
Firstly, what I like and I believe really entrepreneurship must be explored by young people is that you have time on your side. So if you fail, you can still rise and go again. And you're daring also. You're not shy to try anything new. But I think some of the things we need to continue to talk about is that mentorship is important. We need to listen. We need to be patient also and understand that the results you're looking for are not going to come about within a day in as much as you wish that it would be. And tenacity, a spirit of never giving up, becomes very, very important. But that becomes a continuous discussion you must have with young people.
So when you speak to entrepreneurs, you know, there are those who straight come a college or varsity and then they want to get into business. And then there are those who go through, you know, the working and learning, and then the anger or the passion get birthed, and then they do something. It seems like we're faced with a lot of like, I don't want to work for anybody, this is what I want to do. How do you advise them to sort of like still build a skill and the tenacity which is required to take them to the next level, even though they don't see themselves as employees first?
Yes. I think Penny, there's many ways to enter entrepreneurship. I don't think there's one way to say you must work first and gain the experience. If you have the passion, I think the only thing we need to build and be very firm on is the don't do's, you know, the type of things. you can't go to entrepreneurship because you think it's easier than employment, you know, because it's not. It does help to get some experience and discipline in working and also to get industry knowledge because that becomes your base. But you get people who dream, you know, they get out of academic institutions and they say this is what they want to do. And I don't think we need to say to people, no, but you must first do 1, 2, 3, 4 before you get to that. I think if you've got passion, you have all what it takes to be, go for it. But as we said, let's understand the parameters around that. If you also don't have the experience, there will be some shortcomings. How then are you going to deal with those?
Okay, let's talk about NMT Venture Capital. What does it do exactly?
Okay, maybe there's 2 things. Firstly, NMT Capital is more an investment holding business. And then we can talk about the venture capital area we are involved in. We co-founded NMT Capital in 2002 with my 2 colleagues. It's an investment holding company. Its origins go back to us taking advantage of the black economic empowerment space. We've since moved on now. We look at all good investments, but at NMT Capital, we look at only mature businesses which have got a track record and so on and so on. And we invest in it. We work with the owners or management to grow the businesses and look at new opportunities and consolidation. And that's what we do, is to grow those businesses. And some will exit, hopefully at the far more higher return than we entered. The others will stick around because they're cash generative, and that's business.
So you also have an emerging entrepreneurs program within that?
Not within. Then as a sometimes I think it's quite a serial entrepreneurship. I like to start things. And so we then started the venture capital fund, which is WZ Capital, which is more my family business. Okay. And that we're running on the side. That is concentrating solely on relatively younger people, startups, almost early stages, people who say, I have this great idea, I've been working on it, but I need to move just from where I am to the stage where other institutions can look at me to invest in us. And let's look at it. And most of it goes like, if it's technology, to software development and looking at the market and refining the business plan and all of those type of things. That is a passion I have. And it's amazing the type of things people are experimenting with. And in that particular space, we look at disruptors. We look at people who do things not in the way they were done yesterday and how the world will look like tomorrow.
All right, let's take a caller.